The HR Tech presidential election returns are in. Gartner's biggest research reports, called the Magic Quadrant and Critical Capabilities, are now published. They compare the HCM Big Three nose to nose, plus 8 other vendors. And there are some startling changes from last year. Welcome to Firing Line. I'm Bill Kutik. The Magic Quadrant is Gartner's simple visualization device showing a lot of analytical rankings in a simple 4-box. Answers to 15 questions position vendors along the x-axis of completeness of vision and the y-axis of ability to execute. In contrast, critical capabilities is scenario planning. Vendor capabilities from the MQ are compared to 4 typical company profiles with very different HCM requirements. Call them use cases if you're familiar with that term. That's what they are, to see who fits where. Joining us to discuss both these highly anticipated reports is team leader, Gartner Research Vice President Ron Hanscom. Welcome back, Ron, particularly after a similar MQ discussion a year ago.
Happy to be back, Bill.
Glad to have you here. Ron, these reports took 8 of analysts 6 months to complete. Obviously, we're only going to hit the highlights today. Also, it's very well known that mature vendors in the MQ don't move violently from year to year unless they go out of business or something silly. So tell us the highlights.
All right. Well, first off, all of the Big Three have gotten better, and they're reporting similar numbers of purchased and live customers. All 3 remain in the leaders quadrant, and that's the upper right corner where everybody wants to be. Of the 3, SAP SuccessFactors improved in the vision or the x-axis, so they moved a bit to the right, and innovation was one of those fundamental criteria, and as a result, they're a smidge to the right or a smidge ahead of Workday in that vision criteria. As for Oracle, they improved in both vision and execution over last time.
And your MQ this year actually includes 8 other vendors, 3 more than last year, which is good news for everybody that more companies have met your very rigid requirements. Did any of the others make it into the leaders quadrant?
Yes, Bill. Ultimate Software, who was a challenger last time around, moved into the leaders quadrant this year based on continued development of functionality that's good for the upmarket and continued strong execution.
Let's move over to critical capabilities. Let's talk about the most complicated use case or scenario that you put together, meant for the big guys like the Big Three, namely a company with more than 5,000 employees, multinational, needing a full HCM end-to-end suite. I remember your colleague was here when you were on a different publishing schedule, Melanie Luget, who said the top 3 were 0.04 of a point within each other and that SAP was ahead by a hair. What happened this year?
This time it's Workday by 2 hairs. Okay, Workday's scoring improved this year based on delivery of learning and planning functionality and increased adoption by organizations outside of North America. So as a result, that spread is now 0.1 of a point, so it's 0.06 greater. And remember, Bill, this is on a 1 to 5 scale, so that 1/10 of a point represents a little more than 2% difference between all 3 of those vendors.
Amazing that they're so close together. I mean, if you listen to either one of them, any of them, you would never think they were. For your other 3 use cases, I understand the winners were the exact same winners as last year. SAP, Ultimate, and Ceridian Dayforce.
That's correct.
Ron, you have this unique window on our world, doing these reports, your team taking 3,200, the mind boggles, client inquiries every morning for a year, plus a survey you did of the 129 references that your entrants provided. Tell us what you learned from the survey.
Well, 88% of those customer references had as one of their main objectives improving the quality of reporting and people information.
It's the reason they bought it.
That's the reason they bought it. And they were pretty satisfied with that outcome. Process automation and standardization of HCM processes ran close behind that first one. From a product standpoint, references were most satisfied with product quality. They rated that in the mid-4s. What they were least satisfied with, social and collaboration and mobile support. They rated those in the mid to upper 3s.
Out of 5, is it?
Out of 5, yes. And from a customer care standpoint, they were most satisfied with their vendor's account management, but least satisfied with their enhancement request processes. And this reference feedback not only shows us what project teams need to maybe look at and think about asking questions on as they go through their selections, but also what vendors need to work on over the next few years.
Point of this is these are written mostly for end users, and what should they be taking away and considering when they're looking at HCM suites?
Well, where the rubber meets the road, Bill, is at the individual organization, because no two are alike. So project teams need to take this research as a starting point. They shouldn't just focus on those that are in the upper right. They should look at all the vendors that are evaluated and maybe some others, and then they should make sure they build out their requirements. They conduct those scripted demos that are their demos and not the vendors, and they should do reference checks to confirm the best fit for them.
Still a lot of work to do, Ron, but it's a big decision, has big effects on your company. So how can it not be, right?
Exactly.
Thank you for coming back and updating us on the conclusions, and let's find a way to do this more often than once a year without you having to work so hard.
I'll look forward to that, Bill.
I will too. Don't miss next month's episode of Firing Line. Just click on the red subscribe box at the end. You'll get just one email notice directly from YouTube when the next program is posted. Write your comments right on this YouTube page. Go to our page on Facebook. Or please send us an old-fashioned email, I prefer the length, to bill@cudick.com. We want to hear what you're thinking. I'm Bill Cudick. Thank you for watching.